What is up, everybody? Jordan here with the deck box, coming back to you today with another top deck. The last list we looked at was Ian Robb's list. That was first place at Collinsville, and this time we're actually going to be hopping over across the pond to the Malmo regional that happened the same weekend as Collinsville. I wanted to look at the first place list there. It was piloted by, let me make sure I get this right, I want to say it's Andrew something. No, I'm sorry, Adam. Adam Hawkins. Looks like he's from England. And he piloted this Zoroark Weavile list. And this was a list, if I remember correctly, I thought I heard from someone that this was something that Tord kind of brewed up. And I guess it made its way across to the U.S. as well. Some players took it to Collinsville. They didn't do as well as they did over in the U.K., but they did have a lot of spots that made it close to the top. And it's really easy to see why. This is a really, really cool deck, and it's really fun to play, if I do say so myself. So we're going to hop in, and I'll explain how this deck works, and we'll get a match with it and kind of show you guys a little bit of the gameplay. So real quick, I said Weavile, and a lot of you probably don't know what Weavile I'm talking about. Of course, it is the new Weavile from Ultra Prism. And what you're going to be focusing on is using this Evil Admonition attack, 50 damage times each of your opponent's Pokemon that has any ability. So if you keep up with the meta at all, you understand that excuse me, abilities are everywhere. Whether it's a Lele, pretty much every deck plays that. If it's a Zoroark deck, then they're going to have that down. Lycanroc, Decidueye, Glaceon's ability counts, Leafeon's ability counts. So it just kind of goes on and on. Vikavolt, Magnezone. So anytime your opponent has an ability down, it will be doing an additional 50 damage. So just 3 Pokemon down, that's 150. Another 30 for a choice band is 180. Even decks that don't really rely on abilities tend to get a couple down. Like I said, because of Lele and things like that. Now, something to keep in mind, if you do face off against a Garbodor list, if they shut down abilities, the only Pokemon on the field that has abilities is the Garbodor. So you're only hitting your opponent for 50 then. So keep that in mind. Don't be assuming that those abilities still count with this attack. It does not. Only Garbodor's counts at that point. This is a really, really solid attack. Just takes 1 energy to do it. You're only giving up 1 prize. And chances are you're taking big knockouts with it. This is not your main attacker of the deck, but it's a nice, I call it a spicy tech. I mean, it just works really, really well in this list and allows your Zoroarks to do things that they normally don't do. So then from there, we do run 4 Zorua, and we want to make sure we're running this Moonless Madness one that can attack with a dark energy, or darkness energy rather. Make sure your opponent's active Pokemon confused. The reason that's important is typically Zoroark lists don't play darkness energy, and that's because they're usually paired with something else that doesn't run darkness energy. And you just use the DCE Zorua. Let me see here if I can show it for you guys. It's one of the new ones. Yeah, this one that has Ram does 20 damage for DCE. That's typically the one you use because you can attack for DCE, but you'd rather confuse your opponent than do 20 damage to them. So that's why we play this Zorua in this list. Then from there, we do run 2 of the stand-in Zoroark. Whoop, skipped right past it. 2 of the stand-in Zoroark from Breakthrough. Only 100 HP, but again, this works the same way as Weavile, where it's a 1 prize attacker, and it's typically taking some big knockouts or 2 shots. Either way, it's really, really good. Plus, it has that stand-in ability. You can get Pokemon out of the active that you don't want there, and you can attack with this guy for just a DCE. So really solid. Then along with that Zoroark from Breakthrough, we run, just turn your head just a little, we run the Zoroark Break, also from Breakthrough. Has 140 HP. The attack is Foul Play. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. That's really solid because it really helps in matchups like with Buzzwole, who swings for 160. You add a choice band, you're doing 190, you're one-shotting a Buzzwole, again, only giving up 1 prize. So just things to look at like that. It's also fun to do if you've put a little bit of damage on something and then use Glaceon's GX attack, for example. Typically, GX attacks are going to be massive and do a lot of damage. So if you can get this guy up and attach 1 energy and do a lot of damage or just wipe the board clean, you're in a good spot. So that is why Adam chose to run 2 of this break in his list. So it's a 4-2-2 with the Zoroark break, and then there's also 3 Zoroark GXs. So it's kind of an odd breakup where it's like a 4-3-2-2. But it makes sense because it helps you do different things for different matchups. And obviously we know what the Zoroark GX does. Has the trade ability, once in your turn before you attack, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, draw 2 cards. So really solid draw support. And the attack is really solid. Riotous Beating does 20 damage for each of your Pokemon in play, so potentially 120, 150 with a choice band. But what's really cool, something that most people don't get to do with Zoroark GX, is actually use its GX attack. And again, this has been very helpful for me going up against decks that normally Zoroark would have a hard time with because of the weakness. But because I'm able to use Trickster GX, as long as I get 2 Darkness Energy on him, I can take big knockouts with my opponent's attacks that normally I wouldn't have that capability of doing. So it allows me to get a little bit ahead of the game. So for example, if I go up against one of the new Duskmane lists, I can swing for 220 or 250 if I use their GX attack as my option. That's something Zoroark doesn't do, but I get the chance to do that in this list. And of course Zoroark Break can do the same thing. So really solid. Basically, whatever I'm coming up against, their strength becomes my strength, but I get a little bit more consistency because of my ability to trade. And then at the same time, if they use abilities, then Weavile comes in and says, okay, I'm going to take care of these guys. I'm only 1 prize. I can take 2, whatever. So I hope that makes sense. Their strength is my strength plus some. You know, I get to add some to it, which is really, really cool. Then from there, we have 1 Tapu Koko. This, of course, is great for free retreat to pick and choose which Pokemon you want in the active for a turn after they've been knocked out or something. Plus, Tapu Koko can spread with Flying Flip to kind of set things up for some solid knockouts. Then a nice tech that's in a lot of our decks right now is Mew EX, and it's really just for that versatile ability. This Pokemon can use the attacks of any Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's. You still need the necessary energy to use each attack. So, again, you get to use their attacks against them in some cases, but typically what you're going to want to do is you're using this so that you can hit weakness on things like Buzzwole, other Mew EXs, Espeon EX, Espeon GX, things like that. Anything weak to Psychic, that's what you're using Mew for. It's that tech to take down big knockouts. Like I said, Buzzwole is really big right now, and this deck is weak to fighting, so to use Mew EX and take some solid knockouts against Buzzwole is really, really good. You know, we can use, really what we use a lot of times is Zoroark GX's Riotous Beating for just a DCE. So you slap down Mew EX, DCE, and you're swinging. Obviously, full bench is going to be taking down a Buzzwole with weakness for sure. Then we have 3 Tapu Lele GX, just adding to the consistency of this list to be able to get whatever supporter we want, whenever we want, so we can take the knockouts that we need to take when we need to take them. And then from there, we just have a few items. We have 2 Evo Soda. Of course, we have a lot of evolving in this list. Essentially a stage 2 here with Zoroark Break, and then some stage 1s between the GX and Weavile. So Evo Soda is really helpful in this list. 2 Field Blower. We want our abilities back online, but at the same time, we want Weavile to be doing more damage based on their abilities. So if we can turn off their Garbotoxin, then we can do more damage with Weavile potentially. Then from there, we have 4 Puzzles of Time. This is a Zoroark GX list, so we are going to be using these to get back anything that we discard that we may not want to discard. I mean, it's just really important to be able to recycle through things and make some solid plays happen. Then from there, we have 4 Ultra Ball. Obviously, we're just trying to dig for our Pokemon, get them out when we need to get them out, and sometimes we can use it to thin the deck. If we're about to use a Cynthia and we don't want to draw into something, we can dump stuff away from our hand, maybe get a Pokemon onto the field, and give us better options of getting what we need to get. Then from there, Adam did play 1 Devoured Field, and this is a card I actually looked at a little bit ago. I can't remember what I looked at it with. I believe it was with a dragon Pokemon. Yeah, it was with oh goodness, Garchomp. So he could swing for 210, 240 with a choice band, so he can one-shot Decidueyes. So I looked at that originally. It didn't work too well with that. I may have to look at it again, but he chose to run one in his list so that his Pokemon could do an extra 10. And I know that in his interview with the Slowpoke Well, it's an awesome podcast. If you haven't listened to it, go check it out. He did an interview with them, and I mean, he got first, so obviously he doesn't want to change his deck, but he said one thing that he may consider taking a look at again would be Devoured Field, because I guess having the 1 doesn't do a whole lot. But I'd have to disagree. From my testing, it's actually worked pretty well. It makes it to where something, for example, I used Trickster GX against a Lele using Buzzwall's Knuckle Impact for 160. I had Devoured Field out, did 170, took down the Lele. So it definitely has its uses. I can understand why it may be not so useful in certain situations, but when it comes into play, it's very clutch. So it's really just about how you play it. Then from there, he did play, these are his supporters, 1 Acerola. What's great about this is you can use a trade ability, Acerola it back up, and if you have another Zorua down, you can put that same Zoroark GX down and use trade again, so you can just dig. And you're obviously trying to preserve the life of your Pokemon for as long as possible, and Acerola helps with that. Not a ton of big HPs, so 1 I think is okay. I don't think you need any more than that. Plus, if you need it again, you've got puzzles. Then from there, again, it's a Zoroark list, so we use 3 Bridgets. We're trying to get our Pokemon down fast and as many as possible. And then what's great is, after you've gotten your initial Pokemon down, typically you're just going to dump this with the trade ability. It's not going to do you much good the rest of the game unless you need something down in a split second to be able to use Riotous Beating for more damage. Then from there, we have 3 Cynthia for draw support, 3 N for draw support, and then a split between 1 Kukui and 1 Professor Sycamore. So that allows us to do some more damage with Kukui, draw some more cards with Sycamore. The main 2 draw supporters, though, are Cynthia and N, and I guess you could include Mallow as a draw supporter as well, because you're able to put whatever 2 cards at the top of your deck and then preferably trade with Zoroark to grab those 2 cards and make a nice, exciting play. Then from there, we do have 3 Guzma. This is an amazing card. I really love this card. You're able to drag a Pokemon out and, of course, bring up one of your own, and then take the knockouts that you want to take. There's nothing worse than having to attack something or knock something out that you are not necessarily wanting to attack because it's not the main threat. If I can take out the main threat with Guzma, then I absolutely will. Then from there, we round it off with 3 Choice Band as our tools. Just between Choice Band and Kukui, you're able to swing for 170 with Riotous Beating with Zoroark GX, and then of course the Choice Band adds damage to the other Pokemon as well. As I mentioned before with Weavile, 150 for 3 abilities out there on your opponent's side. Make sure you're clear about that. Your opponent's side of the field, not yours. And a Choice Band, you're swinging for 180. There's a lot of Pokemon with 180 HP. Or 190 with Devoured Field, and it makes a big difference having that Choice Band. Then from there, just for the energy counts, we do have 4 DCE and 4 Darkness Energy to be able to use the attacks of any of our Pokemon. And so that is the list, guys. So now we're going to hop on to the ladder real quick, grab a game, and show you how this works. So the computer messed up a little bit and did not record the match appropriately. There were a bunch of glitches and freezes in between it, which really stinks. It was an awesome mirror match that I was really looking forward to showing you guys. But we're going to have to make do and redo it here. So if I saw correctly, it was Psychic, Fighting, Fairy, maybe Dark. So we'll have to see what we're up against here. It could be... Actually, I know exactly. It's Glade Zoroark, or not Glade Zoroark, but Zoroark Gardevoir, which I haven't tested against this one. It could be good, could be bad. We're gonna have to watch out for their Glades, because of course those will be hitting us for weakness. But the good thing is, so their Zoroarks have abilities, their Gardevoirs have abilities, their Glades have abilities. Every Pokemon that they're gonna be putting out there has abilities. So we should be consistently swinging for 200 plus, taking knockouts against huge Pokemon. So that's the good news. I'm going to be doing that for sure. I'm going to get rid of their attachment for turn, using that first attack for Sneasels. So we see a Bridget come down, probably another Zoroark and maybe 2 Zoroark. Okay. Or Zorua, excuse me. They're going to leave that last space open, which is fine with me. And we're going to get rid of that energy. Thanks, bro. We're going to do this. We'll attach this, and we'll just Cynthia. And really, I'm hoping to get some more Pokemon. If we don't get any more, we could be in deep trouble. So we get Mew, which could be relevant against Glade. for now it's relevant for keeping us alive. So we'll just do Sneaky Smash. We'll get rid of that 1 energy. And it really stinks we couldn't get a Zorua down this turn, but that's fine. If he gets 2 more abilities down, we will be knocking out this Zoroark. Come on, get some abilities. If not, I mean, we're still swinging for 130. He's gonna knock out our Sneasel. That really sucks. This game may be over quicker than the earlier one that I recorded, which really stinks because it means we will be losing badly. Put this on him. Let's see what we can get here. Okay. Let's see. I am gonna do this. I'm gonna dump these 2. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to grab a Lele and grab a Bridget for turn 2. For now, we can be swinging for 110 damage. We will be 2-shotting the Zoroark. As long as he doesn't get another Pokemon, we won't be 1-shot. But if we are, we'll at least get to set up a little bit. So we'll see how this match goes. So far, not looking great. Oh, you know what? We can also use a different attack, 2040. Now that won't do any better. Energy Drive is definitely the option for us here. Alright, so 110 there. Excuse me. Or, you know what, if he gets a Choice Band. Choice Band or another Pokemon could actually fill up his, or not fill up his bench, but it could knock us out. And there's the Choice Band. He is going to knock out our Mew. I mean, we have Bridget. That's about all we got going for us at this point. 3 turns in, or 4 turns in, whatever it is. Okay. All right. Let's see. This is going terrible. Alright, 2 Zorua. Come on. And our Sneasel. Let me check things out. Prize both of our stand-ins. Prized a lot of Ultra Balls, like 2. We've used 1 Cynthia, so that explains that. Prize an N, prize 1 Darkness Energy. Alright. Now we click done. The good news is we have that Ultra Ball. What I'm going to do this next turn, I'm going to dump Zoroark Break since we don't have any stand-ins. So I'm going to dump that. And when I re-top deck to grab a Lele and a Sycamore, I'm going to use the Evo Soda probably to get a Zoroark GX, because even though Weavile only gives up 1 prize at this point, it's actually more of a liability, because after he takes down Lele, there's only going to be 1 prize left. So I think that's the better option. We're re-grabbing with Wonder Tag. And the thing is, this guy hasn't even set up either. Like, it's not that he's playing better than us. Our setup has just been atrocious. We have not been able to get anything we need to get things going. Alright, so he's going to get another Zoroark GX. So now he's got 4 abilities out there. So we're swinging for 200 with our Weavile. And that is good news. And that's where he takes it out, of course. Yep, okay. And that's actually a really smart play on our opponent's part to do that. Because really that was our biggest threat. Now we're down to just 2-shotting everything if we get the chance. We just have to hope once we knock out his Zoroark GX that ours can survive a little bit. But he may have Rare Candy Gallade here. Okay, Gardevoir, which still is not great for us. Alright. Down to Zoroark. Oh. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. So as I mentioned, we're going to dump the Guzma and the Zoroark break. We are going to grab, I'm screwed up there, a Lele. First we're going to use Evo Soda. We're going to grab ourselves a Zoroark GX. Evolve the active. And we're going to do a Sycamore here. And we need, oh, we need a lot. We need some more Pokemon. We need a DCE and Choice Band. Well, DCE Choice Band will knock this out now. But I'd really rather just get more Pokemon so we can set things up. Alright, so we have some more trade capability. That's good. So we can dump 2 of these guys here. And Weavile, of course, we can't use anymore because both Sneasels are in the discard. We could get them back at some point. Alright, so we get our DCE. That's good news. I'm going to dump this break. We're having to dump so much stuff. Okay, so... Alright, so I'm resorting to having to put down a Lele. I will use it. I think I'm going to grab an N for next turn. I think we still have one of those in here. Yeah, I think that's a good move. So now we're taking down the GX. And hopefully they don't get any more energy. If we can last a little bit while they're not getting energy, we can actually catch up in this game. So let's see here. Getting that energy is good. Let's see how many Guzmas they've used. If they've used enough Guzmas, we could, no, only one. So we could use a couple puzzles, get back a Sneasel, start setting up a Weavile, and take some bigger knockouts with that. Which actually we still could do because he has 2 prizes left now instead of just the 1. He has 2 trades going though. That could hurt us. But we could Mallow for a puzzle, grab Sneasel and something else. And let's see here. Yeah, maybe Sneasel Choice Band. Okay, let's see what we got here. Dumped a Pal Pad instead of using it, so that's good for us. I mean, he does have puzzles he could get it back with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Swinging for 150. Alright, we're kind of hurting now. We can't use Mallow. We need to use Guzma. Okay. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. So, I'm going to use double puzzle. I'm going to grab Sneasel and a DCE. I am going to trade away the Ultra Ball. No. Zoroark GX, I'm going to trade him away. Because I don't think at this... I mean, if anything gets knocked out at this point, we're kind of done. I'm going to trade away the Bridget. Just trying to get rid of some of these cards we don't need. And potentially set up some other stuff. Double puzzle again. That's good. It's too bad we can't use 2 supporters, because a Kukui Choice Band could take down a Lele. But we need a Guzma to get it out. That's the problem. Okay, I like this. We can use this Guzma next turn and spam it, because we're going to use it. Well, no. Yeah. Yeah, we'll be able to take down Guardy with Weavile next turn if we pull this Guzma back out with one of our puzzles. So I'm going to start attacking his Zoroark. Put it within 2-shot range. Yeah. That's what we're going to do. We may still be able to dig out of this one. Maybe. Maybe. It's a big maybe. How many Guzmas do we have in here? 2. We may actually just grab both. Oh, no, he's got me. He's got the Guzma. Okay, well, you can't win them all. I'm really bummed that the other match didn't show up for you guys. But you kind of got to see how the deck works despite it slowing down there at the beginning. I don't know what happened there. I haven't had that issue with consistency at all, really, with this deck. It's been really solid. So yeah, so be sure to give it a try despite what you just saw. Like I said, the opening was not great. Had he not had the Guzma, we actually would have taken out his Gardevoir, and then from there be tied up and potentially take our last 2 prizes. So it was very, despite the scores, despite how it looked, it was a very close game near the end there. So real quick, let me show you the list one more time. This is your chance to screenshot it, whatever you want to do with it, and go have some fun with it. Trust me, this is a really, really fun list. If you got any cups or challenges coming up, this would be one I would highly suggest using. It's very strong. It has some versatility to it, especially using Mew EX and the Foul Play from Zoroark Break. Definitely adds some versatility. So be sure to give it a try. And as usual, if you've enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like for me. Subscribe as usual. That way you can keep up to date on what's going on with the channel and some of the new decks that we are dropping pretty regularly on here. And as usual, thank you so much for joining me. I've been Jordan with the Deck Box, where I want to know what's in your box. Have a great day, guys.